So, here's everyone's least favorite Mario Kart game. The one that nobody remembers or really talks about at all, except for me. This one's my favorite actually, and I think there's a lot of really cool things to appreciate in this game, and we're gonna talk about every single one of those things, or at least all the ones I could think of. I think the best place to jump right in with is the movement in this game. A lot of people seem to really struggle with or outright even just dislike the handling in this game, but I think it's actually really interesting and there's some really cool stuff to appreciate. For instance, the jump is really powerful in this game. There's plenty of shortcuts that just involve jumping over a gap, no items needed or anything. You can't do that in Mario Kart 8. There are lots of obstacles and short off-road sections that you can just completely skip by jumping over them. It's really great. And of course, related to the jumping, I have to get into the drifting right away. This is the part, in my experience, where people really get tripped up with this game is with the drifting, because it's so much different from later Mario Kart games that people are used to. But I think that it's really actually very interesting. It's really similar to the two preceding games, Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario Kart, although people don't seem to like the drifting in those much either, so... But in any case, in this game, it's much more of a utility for steering than it is just a way to get a speed boost, like it is in the newer games. Like, when you just do a turn normally, 9 times out of 10, it's too wide for the corners, and you will run into walls and stuff like that doing that. But if you add in a drift, you can turn a lot more sharply. But it's not quite as simple as that. Sometimes that's still not enough, or you've hit the wrong angle, or something like that. And in that case, you can combine the jumping with the drifting to sort of modulate your momentum and angle to make really precise turns. So you kind of end up hopping around corners more than just drifting. And if you look at Super Mario Kart speedruns, you'll see the exact same thing in that game too. It's difficult to really describe exactly how nailing a corner in this game feels, or the way to do it. It's sort of something that I've just sort of felt out over the years, playing it over time. Because I've played this game since I was like 10 years old. And so it's just kind of muscle memory for me now. But it's interesting to try and put it into words as well. It's like, to make another example, in modern Mario Kart games, the drift sort of moves you sideways, right? It takes you kind of take your cart, and you turn it sideways, and you drive sideways around the corner. But in this game, and in 64 and Super Mario Kart, that's not really how it works, is it really just makes your turn a lot sharper. And in order to get that same sideways movement, you have to jump. And the jumping kind of keeps your momentum, and it allows you to jump sideways through the corner. And also related to jumping and drifting is that just like in the later games, you can use a jump to quickly reorient yourself to point forward after a drift. Like I said, it's a little bit hard to explain, but I hope I've done a good enough job that it has made it a little bit more interesting for you, and maybe you're willing to give it a try. It's something that you really have to kind of feel out, but once you get it, it feels really satisfying in my opinion. I think a lot of people just don't really understand what they're trying to do, or it feels different and they don't really try, but I think it's really worthwhile to get into the movement in this game. Another thing that I've got to talk about this game is the item distribution. It is simply ridiculous. You can get triple shells in first place, you can get red shells, you can get mushrooms, you can get a boo and get literally anything. It really makes the game extra frantic, I think. Which is good, because the game is not easy. Even with this item distribution, it can be a struggle to keep first place. And speaking of the boo in first place, another thing that I really love about this game is some of the interesting item mechanics. I'll go over some of the big ones and then get into the little nuances about the items as well. So first of all, the boo has multiple uses in this game. Not only does it do the usual, you know, stealing an item from someone, turning you invisible, that kind of thing. If you're not in first place, it also will go and harass the person in first place, making them slow down and drop coins. It kind of feels like having 3 separate ways, you know, the lightning, spiny shells, boos, to specifically impede the first place driver is excessive, but with the absurd items that you can get in first place, it's kind of a necessary balance. There's one other way to get harassed by a boo, which is on the track Broken Pier. There are little boos that float above the track, and if you drive past them, they will attack you. Another big item thing from this game that I love is what happens when you shoot red shells backwards. Unlike every other Mario Kart, to my knowledge, red shells don't just go straight out behind you. Instead, they get placed down on the track, and they'll just sit there until someone passes, and then a little beep will play, and then it chases them down at that point. I love doing this so much, and I really feel the absence of it in every subsequent Mario Kart game. And also, as a quick side note, you can do this with a spiny shell too. If you place the spiny shell behind you, it will wait for the person in first place to come by, and then it will chase them. You just have to be careful that you don't end up the person in first place by the time you come back around. And actually, that's the most useful way to use a spiny shell because of a big flaw in the red shells and the spiny shells, but especially the spiny shells in this game, is that they can't pass gaps. If there's any jump or a gap in the track and a shell comes up to it, it just won't go across it. In later games, the shells can go airborne, but in this one, nope. They die at jumps. And that's especially bad for the spiny shell because the spiny shell is going to have to go around most of the track to reach the person in first place most of the time, right? If there's any gap anywhere in between there, it's just not going to make it. So if you put it behind you and it just sits there and waits, then you have a better chance to actually hit the person in first place. It also just doesn't show up that often. I only saw them a small handful of times while recording footage for this video, and I never saw them do anything effective. The lightning and the boo are really the most effective ways to get the person in first in this game. Another little thing that I enjoy is when someone is spitting out, you can slam into them to make them spit out more. In fact, when someone gets hit by something, there are just no iframes at all in this game. You can just blast them with shells over and over and they will all still work. And then a couple other little things about spitting I want to sneak in here is one, when you are tiny from a lightning bolt, instead of getting squashed by bigger carts, you just get spun out. And secondly, coins are kind of like a de facto health system in this game. If you have no coins and someone runs into you, you will spin out in that case too. There's a few last little things I'd like to talk about in this section as well. First of all is actually the first thing I dislike about this game, which is that triple shells can only be shot forward and not backwards. It always felt like it was a huge step up to be able to do that in Mario Kart DS. Super Circuit beats DS on having animated shells though. Maybe it would just be too OP to be able to place 3 red shells on the track in a row. Next is an interesting little mechanic that I enjoy that actually returns from Mario Kart 64. Various hazards like banana peels or stuff that's built into the track like fireballs or baby penguins or mice don't actually spin you out immediately. Instead, your character does like a little wiggle, and then if you hit the B button in time, you won't spin out, and instead you'll do like a little whistle instead. It's super cute, and it feels super satisfying when you pull it off. It's another little detail I definitely miss a lot in the later games. Lastly, I don't actually know if this is an intended feature, but it's interesting anyway. When you're going at your top speed, you can actually outrun the red shells. It's really fun and super frantic because if you slip up in any way and slow down even slightly, like if you go over an off-road section or you put on the brakes for some reason, it will get you. And let me tell you, nothing else in Mario Kart has ever got me laser focused and got my blood pumping more than that experience. If you escape for long enough, or just get an item to block it, it will get knocked out. The fact that there's like a timer for how long it can chase you before giving up makes me feel more like it's intended than not, but let me know what you think. Okay, moving along, let's talk about things about individual tracks I enjoy or find interesting. On Luigi Circuit, a Luigi blimp is seen taking off. And on Sky Garden, you can see it flying around in the sky. I love so much that there's continuity between the tracks like that. And stick a pin in the fact that the blimp is there in Sky Garden, because we'll be coming back to that later. One of the best tracks overall in this game is Sunset Wilds. There's a lot to love here. First of all is that each lap the sun goes down more, with the final lap taking place after the sun is fully set. It's so nice. I love the effect it has, and it really highlights the way that the tracks in this game can do so much more than in Super Mario Kart. This game is a lot like Super Mario Kart, but the biggest thing that sets it apart from it is dynamic stage features like this. It also features a unique stage hazard in the form of Shy Guys that will latch onto you and slow you down, which I love a lot. It's so cute. Love those little guys. Another small detail on this track is that it's very Shy Guy themed, down to the little bumps on the ground looking like Shy Guy masks, and there are totem poles featuring them alongside Sniffets and Toadies from Yoshi's Island? It's a very interesting choice. As an extra little anecdote for you, when I was younger, I always thought that this was a tweeter. You know, this guy from Super Mario Bros. 2? Like, it's a small sprite on a small screen. I see a little bird face, I think, you know, Shy Guy, Sniffet. Oh, that must be Tweeter. I think it makes sense how I thought that. Anyway, now right along those lines, another interesting discrepancy in this game is that during this area of Mario, Thwomps had this design. They're very square and decidedly blue. So why then in this game, despite sharing the same square shape and face design, are these ones gray? Later on in the Wii and DS era, the thwomps returned to their more classic gray design, which makes this feel like kind of a missing link of sorts. Moving on from the thwomps is a good spot to get into the Bowser Castle tracks. Bowser Castle 3 is notable for being a completely different color scheme from the other ones, taking place outside, and featuring Kamek flying around for no reason. He is literally just a decoration. And he does not appear in the Wii version of the track, also for no apparent reason. You are such an enigma, Kamek. And then there's Bowser Castle 4, which is the only one of these that has never reappeared in any subsequent Mario Kart, which is a shame. But the main thing to talk about here is the background, because what the fuck is that? Some kind of reactor? What is Bowser up to? What is he doing here? Not to mention the seemingly incredibly fucking massive fence as well. You never see anything get closer in the background in this game, leading to everything looking completely massive. Which is especially bizarre here when you think about how big that fence must be. And the reactor itself, too. Again, what the fuck is Bowser doing? What is he making in there? What is that for? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, also on the topic of the backgrounds, I have to point out my one other criticism of this game, which is that parallax scrolling makes no sense with a rotating view. You end up completing a full rotation, full 360 degrees, and then you aren't looking at what you started with. This game cheats and makes it hard to notice though, because the foreground completes 2 rotations by the time you turn all the way around, so it looks like it lines up in the same spot, but it's actually rotated too much. Which implies that the background is actually also rotating at its own separate rate. It's really weird. Once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. There are so many Mode 7 type of games that do this. Once I realized that that doesn't make sense, it all ruined for me. My life has not been the same since making this realization. Moving on to something completely different and kind of out there. I swear the map for Lakeside Park looks like Donkey Kong's head in profile. It's maybe a bit of a stretch, but that's how I always saw it. And I also swear that Ribbon Road's map looks like Wario's head in profile. You know what? I'm not gonna defend that one. Never mind. But I mean, at least Wario is there on the track icon. Ribbon Road! That's another track I enjoy. It has a cool shortcut, and also this one weird spot that's unique. Most of the game has these yellow jump pads that make your cart bounce, and sometimes there are these various other bumps that bounce you a little bit too. But Ribbon Road has these weird, like, lines across this one part that bounce you in this slightly weird way, unlike anywhere else in the game. And I have no idea why they're there. Mostly just to bounce you over the item boxes, it feels like. The theme of this track is really fun too. It's super abstract and weird compared to the rest of the game. It's vaguely like a birthday party theme, or I guess just present themed in general. You drive on a big ribbon, and all the off-road sections are wrapping paper and tissue paper. It's really cute. It kind of looks like it's surrounded by water, but I think that's just blue tissue paper as well. It sure would be a shame if they ever messed with the theme of this track, wouldn't it? Okay, let's talk about some smaller parts I enjoy. Yoshi Desert has these fun little sand whirlpools with piranha plants in them, and it has this cool Yoshi Sphinx. This is actually the first of 3 times this Sphinx appears. It went on to reappear in Mario Kart Wii, and then later Paper Mario Sticker Star. The Wii version retains pretty much the exact same design from Super Circuit, with the headdress and everything, but the Sticker Star one removes that. But it keeps the stripes from it on the back of the head. It's really weird. They probably weren't allowed to alter Yoshi like that for this game. Anyway, also I love the little detail of the lens flare when you point towards the sun. This game is full of so many nice little details. While I'm here, I want to point out that you can very slowly drive underwater, and if you manage to get to the edge before Lakitu grabs you, you can get out of the water by yourself without his help. I love the detail on Boo Lake and Broken Pier of the little posts that are holding up the boardwalk that you can see underneath the track. They did this in Super Mario Kart as well, and it's such a nice little detail, I had to point it out. Cheeseland has a shortcut I really enjoy. It's super simple, but super satisfying too. On this jump, if you veer to the left, there's a big area filled with jump pads, and you do the big bounce off of them, and it's so good. I love Cheeseland in general, by the way. Love the colors, love the kind of spacey theme. You know, moon being made out of cheese and all that. It's really fun. Sure would be a shame if they removed the theme. Snowland has some interesting features, namely this section that's just over here and not on the map. There's also these 2 shortcut sections that are just there. Just normal roads, they don't slow you down or anything. They're also not on the map. Just a little bit odd compared to the rest of the game. Lastly, we gotta talk about this Rainbow Road. Bowser's castle from Paper Mario appears in the background of this track. As a kid, I didn't realize that's where it came from. Turns out Intelligent Systems made this game. Same developer as Paper Mario. So it makes sense why they'd throw something like that in. It's really funny how in this game, we have something that started in Paper Mario showing up in Mario Kart. And if you remember the Sphinx, we have something starting in Mario Kart later showing up in Paper Mario. The Hammer Bros in the ending sequence also share their design from Paper Mario. Goddamn barefoot Hammer Bros. The Hammer Bros out here about to tell you that don't you know it's not illegal to go barefoot. Anyway, I also like the dynamic background here. The track slowly rises out of the upper atmosphere over the course of the race. I also enjoy the way the track is transparent. It's the only one in the entire game like that. Very fitting for Rainbow Road. Almost the entire track is lined with bounce pads, leading to a lot of interesting shortcuts. It's a really fun detail in general. I wish other Rainbow Roads did something like this. I personally feel like it's a lot more interesting than just having sharp edges on the sides of the tracks that you can fall off of. Also unique to this track are these little lightning clouds that'll shrink you if they shock you, just like the lightning bolt item. And there are stars that hurt you? Where else in all of Mario are there little smiley stars that hurt? I thought those were supposed to make you invincible. Absolutely messed up and evil stars. I also have to mention, there are some terrible official renders for this game, which seem to have been made as desktop wallpapers. I have no idea who made them or where they were distributed, but in Paper Mario, the castle looks like this. In this game, it looks like this. And in the wallpaper of Rainbow Road... What the fuck happened? What is this? How did it end up looking like this? What did they do to the castle? It looks so, like, weird and smeared, and it's not, like... It looks like somebody took the sprite and interpreted it wrong, but the sprite is very clear. It, like, looks almost exactly like the original. What happened here? That's not what it... I don't... What? All of these wallpapers look pretty shitty in general, but this one was the most bizarre to me. I have no idea how that happened to the castle. I don't know. Anyway, one last thing about this track is actually just a thing about the game in general, which is, like many Mario Kart games, this game works on a system of rivals, depending on which character you pick. Different characters will tend to finish in different positions, and I noticed this as a kid, and I wanted to see if I could break it. And I don't remember exactly how I did this, so I don't have any footage of it for you. But I remember I got Princess Peach, who normally would finish in last for the character I picked. I probably picked Yoshi or something like that. And when you start the race, she starts in second place. So I wanted to see if I could get her to stay in second place till the end of the race. So I don't remember exactly how I did this, but I remember it involving taking the big shortcuts on the track, and I managed to stay out far ahead enough that it never had a chance for anyone else to catch up and pass her until the very last lap, when the game noticed this discrepancy and started yeeting her off the track repeatedly. She took herself and threw herself off the track over and over and over until she ended up back towards the end of the pack, like the game wanted her to be. And I was stunned. That was absolutely incredible. And I don't remember how I even did it, or how to recreate it. I would love to recreate this sometime and make maybe an entire other video just about it. Or I'd like to see if somebody else can recreate this, because it's one of the most amazing video game things I've ever seen. And I would love to have it on video. So please let me know what you think about that, or if anybody's interested in trying to recreate that, because that would be awesome. The very last thing to go over is the inclusion of all the SNES tracks. Once you beat the Special Cup, if you go back and play any of the Grand Prix and collect at least 100 coins, you unlock the corresponding cup from Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart had 5 tracks per cup, but Mario Kart Super Circuit is like the rest of the games in the series and has 4 tracks per cup. But Mario Kart Super Circuit has 5 cups, so they were able to rearrange the tracks from Super Mario Kart to fit. That's a really nice bonus to have them all here. They all use backgrounds and tile sets from tracks from the main game as opposed to recreating the looks of the original, but you do get new versions of all the songs from Super Mario Kart, which is really nice. When I was a kid though, and I bet this will sound really weird, but these tracks really creeped me out. Like, hear me out. I was not expecting them to exist. I wasn't really sure at first what made them appear. They were like weird copies of the regular tracks from the game with weird music. In particular, Donut Plains and Rainbow Road had songs I found creepy for some reason. Every track had 5 laps instead of 3. Instead of track icons with cute artwork, they just plainly showed the map. I felt like I was seeing something I wasn't supposed to. Now that I know they all come from Super Mario Kart, I really appreciate their inclusion and think it's a really nice addition. After I stopped feeling so spooked by them, it always would disappoint me when other games didn't have extra stuff to unlock I didn't expect. Something that probably added to the creepiness I felt, though, is the serious drawback of these tracks, which is that they are all completely barren compared to the originals. The Mario circuits, for instance, used to have pipes and oil slicks scattered about, and without them the tracks are super simple and bare. Those pipes and the oil slicks exist in the game's files though, so they were clearly planned at some point. It's really strange that they didn't get added fully. Even hazards that the game actually has in it, like the thwomps, don't get used in these tracks, and it's really weird. I have no idea why they left the obstacles out, but it's a real shame. It really takes away from them. Like, it really, really does make them feel simple and barren compared to the main game. It's a really confusing thing that they didn't put them in. I mentioned a few things here and there, but actually a lot of the rules of this game come directly from Super Mario Kart 2. There's just spinning out if you get hit while tiny, the appearance of coins and the way they function, being able to escape from water on your own, lack of iframes when opponents get hit by shells, those kind of things. This game really is like an upgraded version of Super Mario Kart, and I'm really glad for that, because as I'm sure you picked up by now, I really enjoy this format of Mario Kart. And as much as I also love Super Mario Kart, Super Circuit is really the definitive version of this to me. It improves on everything while keeping the same basic rules, and combines it with a dash of Mario Kart 64 as well. The tracks are more varied and dynamic, there are tons of interesting features and unique hazards and set pieces. I just really love this game a lot. And with all of that in mind, let's look at how this game has been treated in future Mario Karts. Mario Kart DS did the best with the GBA tracks, I think. They have a great attention to detail and feel like perfect recreations, simply bypassing limitations of the GBA, like having the colored block barriers actually be 3D, and giving the background an actual skybox. The attention to detail is taken to an amusing level with that too, as seen on the background of Luigi Circuit. Remember the weird parallax stuff I talked about? They have recreated that on Luigi Circuit by having multiple of the hangar in the background. It's clearly there multiple times, which mimics how the parallax scrolling in the background worked before, and it's really funny they went to that level of detail. They also kept the detail of the blimp in the background and having it return in Sky Garden. I love that. I also love that Sky Garden is completely paper thin, just like the original, by the way. This is the gold standard for Mario Kart Retro Tracks to me. I remember as a kid when I still had only a GBA and getting to play Mario Kart DS at my cousin's house and just finding it really magical to see Sky Garden in 3D like that. So yeah, just wonderful little recreations here in Mario Kart DS. I have a real soft spot for them. The GBA tracks in Wii and 7 are nice too, but there are so few of them, only 3 between the two, while DS had 4 on its own. Not too much to say about them as a result. My favorite part is just the 3D modeled trees in Mario Kart Wii. That's something I wish DS would have had, but I get why they went for billboarded sprites. It's just a shame Super Circuit got such little representation after Mario Kart DS. I always love returning to those tracks and seeing them brought up into a new style. Even Mario Kart 8 started with only 1 GBA track. And perhaps it should have stayed that way. For the most part, Mario Circuit is fine. It does the job of being an HD upgrade of the track. It remains mostly flat. It's okay. It's okay. There are a lot of random added details, like tire piles and fences and just random things on the side of the track. I mean, I get it. They're trying to make it look more real, look more fully in existence, because, you know, it's in high definition and everything. I get it. I still would have preferred if they didn't put in a bunch of random stuff, but none of it's really egregious. It feels like the same place. And very oddly, they included oil slicks. You know, the thing that was explicitly not in Mario Kart Super Circuit. It was unused. I mean, maybe it's cool that, like, they brought back something that was unused from the game and put it in finally. I don't know, it just feels kind of weird. It's okay. But what the fuck is that? Why the fuck did they do this? I mean, I know it's the gimmick for anti-gravity stuff in Mario Kart 8, but well, why? It's barely even... You don't need the anti-gravity here. They can drive up that normally. So then why did they even do that? Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. This completely ruins the aesthetic of the track. It was just such a nice little, like, realistic go-kart track. You know, it's a nice change of pace, especially for something like Mario Kart 8. This is one of the weakest anti-gravity sections in the game, as far as, like, purposefulness. I mean, there's some other ones in the game, too, where it's like, and why is this anti-gravity? I have to point out, on this tilted thing, these trees are still straight up and down. Does that mean that when this thing is down, they're, like, pre-tilted? Or do the trees tilt when it what? I don't get it. I don't understand. I hate what they fucking did to this track. Put that fucking thing back down. We don't need it. You don't need to shoehorn the anti-gravity into tracks that don't need it. This track is supposed to be flat, too. I mean, it's like they put little banked corners on this, like I mentioned earlier, and that would have been fine. I would have accepted that. Because that feels like it's in the spirit of the track still. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is probably a very controversial take. I will accept that. People like this track. People think it's fun that they did this weird fucking thing to it. I hate it. I come back to these retro tracks just to see these tracks again in a new light. I didn't come back to it to see that they've like taken part of the track and tilted it. It was almost good. I almost liked this. The Super NES tracks in this game, they didn't do that too. They left donut planes alone, they just broke the bridge a bit more. That's fine, that's fine. Didn't fucking need to tilt it. Now we'll move on to the one that's not a hot take to complain about. I'm sure most people can agree that they fucked this one up. That's just Sky Garden. Starting with, though, this track came from Mario Kart Tour originally, right? And I have to give that one more credit. Because despite all of its fuck-ups, even though they're not cobblestones anymore, the bricks are at least gray. I'll give them that. They kept them the right color. And the Luigi blimp is in the background. I gotta give them credit for that. However, in both versions, they fucked up the map shape. Like, what the fuck happened here? It's not even that they made it more complicated or something, which could be slightly understandable, you know, adding a bit more flair to the track. No, they made it less. It's, like, simplified. What the fuck is this? And in Mario Kart 8, the bricks are brown. It's they're all the wrong color scheme. There's fucking airships in the background. What happened to the blimp? There's like a fucking mushroom? Where's that in the original? I also have to take issue with the fact that they made it surrounded by clouds. I don't think the original was clouds. Like, look at it. When you drive over it, there's like what I interpret as like sand particles. You can't drive over it at all in this, by the way. If you go off the edge into the clouds, the Lakitu comes and takes you away. You can't drive on that anymore. Fucking bonkers. The worst part is most of the little detail additions would have been fine. Like putting more little explicitly garden-y things in there. That's neat. That's a neat idea. But they fucking like bent the track all up out of shape. The map's the wrong shape. It's supposed to be flat. Can't believe what they did to my good old Sky Garden. Remember how much I love Sky Garden in Mario Kart DS? Fucking incredible. Alright, Ribbon Road. I don't really hate this track. If I consider it like a Cheep Beach or a Mario Circuit or something like that, just a completely different track with the same name. It's a nice track in that regard. But that's not the case. This is supposed to be the Ribbon Road, and well, I have to concede immediately here. The track icon does clearly display some hills, so adding them to the track doesn't feel like a betrayal of the original completely. And they do have some presence in the background, and Mecha Koopas do appear in Super Circuit, even if not on this track. But after that, what the fuck? What the fuck did you do to this? It just simply isn't the same background anymore. They allude to the original background with these little pillars with ribbons on them, but I don't want illusions, I just want the original background. The original was so wonderfully strange and abstract, and they made it so normal and non-fanciful. Sure, it's whimsical for being small and all. It's just a real-ass room with real-ass presence in it. It's not abstract or strange in the slightest. Why is there so much shit everywhere? Why is the ribbon not entirely just red? Why'd they add all these extra colors? Why is the off-road sections like yarn? It's supposed to be like wrapping paper. Don't even get me started on this big jump section with the Koopa clown car jack-in-the-boxes. Like it's all the off-road sections are just pink yarn. What happened to all the different colors? What happened to the weird blue expanse that it exists in? They changed the shape of the track too. Wario got his nose smashed in a door, I guess. They put a lot of detail into this track. I'll give them that. It's a nice track to play. It's fun. It's got a cool background. It's got a cool aesthetic. It's just fucking... It's not Ribbon Road. I wish this had just been its own track and that they had given Ribbon Road its proper due. Just fucking atrocious. I really hate what they did to this. I don't hate the track, but I hate what they did to Ribbon Road. Fucking incredible. Alright, and now it's time for the worst one of them all. Fucking Cheeseland. What the fuck did they do to this? Cheeseland was cool because it was like a space theme, right? It's like the idea of being on a moon that's made out of cheese, that kind of thing. There's mice, there's space, it's all that kind of thing. And it's actually made of cheese. Here, they made a fucking cheese-themed desert. What the fuck is this? It's all, the track's all twisty and it's got all hills and stuff. It's like, it doesn't even look like the same place even remotely anymore. Where are all these cliffs from? Like, look at all this shit. Where are all the little colorful block barriers? They're barely there at all. I do like the big pizzas in the background, but I can't like them that much because the track is so fucked up. What is this thing at the end? Like, this isn't, these weren't here at all. This doesn't represent anything that was in the original. It takes place during the day. It's a fucking desert. What is all of this? This isn't Cheeseland anymore. Where are the mice? Why is there a fucking chain chomp? Did it eat the mice? Is that why they're gone? This is just the absolute worst one. The music's okay. They did the music alright. They seriously fucked up the music on Ribbon Road. It sounds like a surfing song. It has nothing of the vibes of the original. But I didn't want a fucking cheese desert. I wanted Cheeseland. I wanted my fucking weird cheese planet with the mice and everything. I remember the first time I saw this track, I was so flabbergasted. I was like, it's just, what the fuck is this? It's just completely unrecognizable. It just doesn't have the same vibe. It's just, it's all wrong. Could they at least have made it take place at night? I don't really know how to conclude this section, but fuck the GBA tracks in Mario Kart 8. They're all terrible. I hate them all, and I dread seeing more of them appear in the DLC. I know I probably sound like a lunatic for this section, but I don't know, I had to speak up. Nobody fucking cares that they fucked up these tracks so much. Nobody fucking cares about Mario Kart Super Circuit. Nobody cares about it like I do, so that's part of the reason I wanted to make this video, because I love this game, and I want to see it treated right. Like with all of these, the changes to the shapes of the track would be okay if they kept with the themes properly, if they kept the right colors, if they kept the right vibes. But they don't. They change them so much. It's like they hate these original tracks. They don't have confidence in the original themes. So they just had to throw them out and create something completely different. And it's like, no, I love those tracks. I just wanted to see them in high definition. I wanted to see them in a new light. I didn't want to see them completely remodeled and completely redone from scratch. I hope that makes sense, you know? I hope you get why I feel this way about these tracks. Because I know I just jumped in with ranting at them. But I hope it makes sense. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. To finish off this video, I don't think I have too much more very insightful to say. I just really love this game, and I wanted to share it with everyone. I wanted to share my love. I wanted to share all of the things that I think about with this game, all of the reasons why I love this game. And I hope I did a good job of that. I hope that this has gotten you interested in the game and wanting to give it another try if you've tried it before and it didn't click with you. Or even to just go seek it out yourself if you've never played it before. Good luck with that though, because Nintendo has made it very difficult to get this game. It's on the Wii U Virtual Console, which is going away soon, and it was on the 3DS Ambassador system, so if you don't have an original copy, and you don't have one of those two versions, you're just shit out of luck for getting an actual copy of the game. Well, and you know how Nintendo has been with ROM sites. But if you can find a way to play it, I super recommend it, and I hope you'll go out and try it. I think there's a lot to appreciate here. And I would love to see more people get to appreciate it. Maybe you appreciate it in your own ways. Maybe you find other things that I didn't find in this to appreciate as well. If anybody out there who already appreciates this game, I hope you enjoyed this video too. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. This video took a long time to make. This is my biggest production I've ever had for a video, and I hope you all really liked it. I had a lot of fun putting together this video, and I don't know when the next time I'll make a video this big is, but it was so much fun. This will definitely happen again. So yeah, thanks everybody. I will see you in the future, in streams and in more videos like this eventually. Bye for now!